So the way that we're going to create this haunch in this slab is a lot like we just did with this wall reveal. So the wall reveal uses a profile that extrudes it along the wall to create, a reveal. So in the same manner, a profile can be extruded along the edge of a slab to create a slab edge. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to go to a foundation plan. We're going to come up here again where our section's cut. We're going to go to the Structure tab to open the Structure ribbon, Foundation Panel, Slab, only this time we're going to click the down arrow. We're going to get the Slab Edge tool. We're going to use the default here just to get it in place first. So if you click this line, that's the slab edge. Now go back to your section and you'll see that it created this slab edge, which is a thickened 24 inch by 12 inch. Now the way that this particular profile works is that the length is the top dimension here. So this is 24 inches and this is 12 inches. Now we are going to create our slab edge, thickened slab edge, so that it goes up from this point here up at a 45, and it's going to stop at the bottom of our slab. So the dimensions of that are actually, it's going to be 5 inches tall, because if this slab is 5 inches and this slab ledge is 10 inches, we have 5 inches. And if this is 6 inches and we are going up 5 inches on a 45, it means that we need 6 plus 5, which is 11 inches. So we need a 5 by 11 slab edge instead of a 24 by 12. So again, this is a profile. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to edit type. We're going to duplicate this time. We're going to call it thickened 10 by 5, sorry, 11 by 5 inches. Get rid of that 2, hit OK. Now just like before, we have a certain amount of slab edges or profiles that we can choose from, but we don't have the right one. So for now we're just going to hit OK. We'll come back to this dialog again. We can come over here to our profiles and we can come in and see slab edge thickened. We expand that and you can see the different types here. So we're going to right click and say duplicate on the 24 by 12 one. We're going to rename it 11 by 5. But just like when we've essentially just created a new type, just like we do with the edit type menu. Profiles don't really show up in this menu though, so we did it through the Families Project Browser section. Now we can double click on this and now it brings up our type properties for this 11 by 5 profile. And you can see the two numbers, the width and the thickness, so we can change this to 11 inches and this to 5 inches. Hit OK. Now we can select this slab edge that we've renamed. Now we can edit type, and down in here we can select this nested family, which is 11 inch by 5 inch. Hit OK, and now what we have is an 11 inch by 5 inch slab edge. It's in the wrong location though. We could drag it down here, but we might not get it lined up properly. So what we can do is we can come over here to our vertical offset constraint, type -5 inches, and that moves it down the 5 inches from our first floor. Now we can join these two to get rid of this line. The only problem is that this slab edge currently does not have a material assigned to it. So let's select this again, edit type, and in here you can see that the material is currently being set by category. The category is a slab edge, and right now it doesn't have any material assigned to that category. So we're going to change this here. We're going to click in this box, click the ellipsis button here. That's going to open up our material browser. We're going to search for cast and we'll find this concrete cast in place gray. Almost all the concrete families are of this material, so we're going to hit OK. Now we hit OK again, and you can see that now our slab edge is concrete. And the reason that we want this to be cast in place concrete gray is because this is also cast in place concrete gray. And when we join two things that are of the same material, they become homogeneous. So now we can come into our modify menu, join, and we click on the haunch and we click on the slab, and that joins them up. So at this point, we've now changed all the three-dimensional geometry that we're going to change for this section. If we look at our final deliverable, we can see a lot more detail here. Most of these pieces of the drawing are done with basically two things, well, three things. Detail items, which are essentially like AutoCAD blocks. They're two-dimensional drawing items. We use these in our previous ARC 110 course that we simply place onto the drawing and modify. We have detail lines, such as this grade line. That's just a line, a two-dimensional line that we draw in the view. And we also have some hatch regions for the gravel and the soil. So let's go back here. So what we need is we need some rebar in section. We need rebar in elevation. We need some insulation, some rigid insulation. And we need some cement board out here. We need a expansion strip here. We also need these break lines. Those are themselves detail items. Or I should really be calling them detail components. Even this drain is a detail component. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Revit. I'm going to go to my insert menu. Actually, not my insert menu, my annotate menu. Anything now that I'm going to be drawing on top of my 3D section is going to be done with annotations. So here you can see those detail lines, you can see those filled regions, and you can see these components, these detail components. So I'm going to click on component, and then I'm going to click on load family. And I have to come down here to the detail items. Everything I want now is going to be in this detail items folder. And everything is going to be broken down into its division. So the first thing I want is the general division, break line. I can open that. And I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to keep loading a lot of the things that I need. So I'm going to go back up. I use this little button here. It goes up one folder. We're going to go to concrete. Concrete accessory. No, that's not the right folder. Let me go back here. Reinforcing steel. This is where all our rebar is. So we need a reinforcing bar section, and you can see the little preview there. It's just a dot. Elevation. And we need the 3-8 bend. So we're going to select all three of those using our control button. Click open. And again, we're going to load some more stuff. We're going to go back up. We're going to go to, I believe, wood and plastic. No, that's not it either. Hold on. Thermal and moisture protection. Expansion control, expansion joint. And we're going to get this fiber expansion joint section. We're going to load family again. We're going to go back up. To finishes, plaster and gypsum board, and gypsum wallboard section. We're going to use this for the cement board that goes on the face. We're also going to load family. I forgot something in thermal and moisture protection. We're going to go to thermal insulation. No, that's not right either. Where is my rigid insulation? Well, I also need, I believe, earthwork. No, that's not it either. You do have to go kind of poke around in here to find all the things that you need. I'm looking for the drain pipe. I believe that is utilities, sub-drainage, drainage pipe. Open that. And the last thing I need is my insulation. I thought that was in thermal and moisture. Let me see here. Ah, there we go. It's under roof and deck insulation, but this will work for other things. Rigid insulation section. We're going to open that as well. So now we have all the ingredients that we need to start drawing or placing these components. So I can go to the component button, and it always defaults to the last thing that I loaded. So I can come here. I believe our rigid insulation is 2 inches thick. So we only currently have 1 inch, 1.5, and 1/2 inch. So we can edit type, duplicate, call this 2 inches. Now it's already in use. We do have a 2-inch insulation. Oh, I didn't scroll down far enough. We do have 2 inch. And the way that this works is we simply click 2 points and it draws our insulation. That insulation goes against our foundation. I like using the Align tool. AL is the shortcut, or you can come up to the Modify, Align. You click the thing that you want to align to, and then click the thing that you're going to move. So I'm going to click here and here. And that's essentially how you create all these detail items. Let's go back to Annotate, Component. We're going to find that thermal expansion joint, fiber expansion joint. We have a 1/2 inch fiber expansion joint, and we can place that here, and then simply use the handle to put it in place. Now you'll also notice that some of these will be on top of others. They'll block out lines, so you kind of have to adjust these a little bit to work with your line weights, because we generally have thick lines where we cut through things and thinner lines as we move into the drawing. It's harder to control this in Revit than it was in AutoCAD. For instance, this line here, because it's between concrete and concrete, should not be that heavy. One way we can fix that is to go to the Modify tab, click on our Line Work tool, and we can change that line to be thin. Actually, we want it to be medium, so we're going to click on that line, and we're going to click on it again because there's actually 2 heavy lines there. We can also click on this line, and again, you have to do it several times to turn those lines into thinner lines. And we basically just keep continuing by placing all of our detail components.